We have a banger for you today. Indian just released information on their 2022 Indian Chief. Let's get cracking. In my opinion, this bike we're going to talk about is what Harley should have built 2 years ago. So bear that in mind as we discuss the features and benefits of this new release bike. The Chief was introduced as Indian's heavyweight competitor to Harley-Davidson's and lasted for 31 years. In 1922, 21 years after the company began building bikes, Indian launched the Chief with a 61 cubic inch flathead V-twin. Although a larger 74 inch cubic inch bike called the Big Chief was an option. The 61 cubic inch only lasted until 1928. The 74 cubic inch remained until 1950. Indian remained faithful to the principle of the flathead, and in doing so, escaped some of the pitfalls that Harley-Davidson encountered in their efforts with the overhead valve designs. The new Indian Chief, the bike from whence spring all the others, the new Chief purposely swerves away from the chrome and valanced fenders of its predecessors, going instead for a modern minimalism look. Sports a wide saddle at 26 inches, mid-mount controls. Drag bars replace the beach bars or wide bars that were on its predecessors of yesteryear. Wheelbase is 64 inches. Weight dropped dramatically down to 670 pounds. A far cry from the Chief Classic, which fell from the lineup in 2018. 19-inch front cast wheel, slimmed headlight bucket, a pair of exposed preload adjustable rear shocks, risers exposed showing the 46mm forks, standard base model. You get an analog gauge, cruise control, and the option to tweak the ride's modes from sport, standard, or touring. Keyless ignition, single front 4-piston caliper disc brake. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. ABS is optional at $800. No Indian headdress on the front fender, only on the bigger baggers. Air-cooled Thunderstroke 111 cubic inch motor is what they're rocking on the entry-level model. It produces 74.19 horsepower, 106 pound-feet of torque at 2,410 RPM. 28.5 degree lean angle, that's claimed, I don't know if it's verified yet. Colors in the standard model are black metallic, ruby smoke, and white smoke, and the MSRP is $14,499. It's a lot of bike for $14,500 when you compare it to the Harley lineup. They didn't stop on their laurels there. They came out with the Indian Dark Horse. It's about $2,000 more, gets you all the previous mentioned in the standard, but you get the Thunderstroke 116 cubic inch. Think about that for a minute. Harley-Davidson's CVO lineup rocks a 117, and you're gonna spend between $30,000 and $50,000 depending on the model that you roll with. And here you are for $16,500, 17 grand, getting a 116 cubic inch motor. Just saying. You get throttle by wire, cruise control, ABS with rear deactivation standard on the Dark Horse model. Indian's Ride Command System, an industry's first 4-inch round display which shows bike info and turn-by-turn navigation operated through the grip controls or the touch screen. I believe it operates via Bluetooth and links to your smartphone. I don't know if that's an industry first. My gray Vespa has that option as well on a TFT screen, so that's a bit of a reach in my opinion to make that claim. MSRP of the Dark Horse is $16,999, 17 grand. Colors for the Dark Horse are black smoke, alumina jade smoke, and stealth gray. And they have the Indian Chief Bobber Dark Horse. Of course, it's murdered out. Thunderstroke 116 is standard on it. TFT 4-inch gauge ride command system, ABS, USB charge port, and all the other goodies we talked about on the other bikes. MSRP is $18,999. It also rocks mini apes. Then they have the Indian Super Chief and Super Chief Limited. The Super Chief is a new nameplate for the Indian franchise this year, or I should say next year because it's 2022. Focused on rider comfort, very Road King-ish in my opinion. Windscreen, leather saddlebags that hold 9.7 gallons of storage, 2-up touring seat, floorboards, wide cruiser handlebars. Thunderstroke 111 is in the entry-level version of the Super Chief. Big headlight bucket, fork covers, staggered chrome exhaust, 4-gallon gas tank. It's a really small tank. All of them are rocking the 4-gallon gas tank. We'll see how she does on gas mileage, but I'm guessing this is a 120, 125 mile bike before you're pulling over and getting gas. MSRP is $18,499 for the Super Chief. Comes in black metallic or pearl white only. The Super Chief Limited with an MSRP of $20,999, 21 grand. No dark horses offered in the Super Chief. 116 Thunderstroke motor, ABS and ride command with the TFT screen. Black metallic, blue slate metallic, and maroon metallic are your choices for the Limited. Full line of accessories are available for these bikes right out of the get-go. Stage 1 slip-on mufflers, Stage 1 forward air intake, Stage 2 performance cams, Stage 3 big bore kit for the Thunderstroke 111. Windshields, luggage, running LED lights are also available in their accessory lineup as well. So clearly Indian's going after the Harley upgradability that they've done so well with their Stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 upgrades on their bikes. It is my belief that Indian is paralleling that business plan and going right after it as well. I mentioned the front brake, and that's an area of concern for me. You have a 670-pound bike with a single 300-millimeter disc brake, 4-caliber piston. It has less brakes than the Honda Rebel 1100 that weighs 200 pounds less. So I don't know if that front brake is going to get a lot of fade when you get into the twisties and have to hit those brakes kind of often. Let's talk about the styling cues. I mean, I think this model is, if you take a look at the rear fender, it's what people call a bobber fender. The fender, it looks like a direct lift right off of my Y-Glide. And the front tire looks just like the Fat Bob to me in the Harley lineup. Got a big, thick, fat tire in the front. And yet you can kit it out like a bobber, you can kit it out like a Y-Glide, and you can kit it out like a Road King. That's covering a lot of bases with one platform of bikes. So in their marketing scheme, I think that's a brilliant idea. If you noticed, it had dual rear shocks, which the trend of the industry is to go monoshock for superior performance and handling. Another YouTuber, Gears and Gadgets, did a video on the Indian Chief, and I'll link it down below. He's got a wonderful channel. Dan does a beautiful job. He's what I hope to be when I grow up as a YouTuber. But he made a statement that I thought was kind of resonated with me in the sense that with the dual shocks, is Indian going after the abandoned Dyna Bros when Harley dropped the Dyna chassis and went to a monoshock and switched some of those dyno bikes over to the Softail monoshock. That's entirely possible. Honestly, I think Indian's building up some knockout punches here aimed right at Harley, and they're going after him big time on many levels. So Harley, you better wake up and get with the program. Now, my argument against Harley-Davidson regarding their gauging, that gauge is brilliant by Indian. By the way, before I forget, the headlight is the equivalent to like a Daymaker headlight on the Harley-Davidson, which is standard as well. Back to the gauges, that TFT screen with your navigation and the information that it provides you is brilliant. Just wonderful information, and it's just a matter of a TFT screen housed in a gauge housing. It's a plug and play to replace if it ever goes bad. It's not a big deal and not expensive to produce. Many motorcycle manufacturers are using some form of this already. Harley's gauge on a lot of their bikes is this big with very little information, very hard to read, and very small numbers. 2 thumbs down on that one, Harley. You really need to bring up your game in the gauge. The ones like on my Roadster have half analog and half digital, and then you could scroll through and get some information that you need. Again, I would argue that gauge is better than some of the gauges that are on the 2021 Harleys that just got released. So I would like to see more of that, the Bluetooth connectivity to keep the rider focused on the road. Me personally, I don't talk or text or anything like that when I'm driving or riding or anything like that. It's just not worth it. I'm too busy worried about grandma in a Buick taking me out coming back from bingo. It's going to be an exciting year. Had to rush this one out. This video information just got released 4, 5, 6 days ago. I'm going to go take a test drive on one this spring or summer if they release them in time. and we'll talk about the ride and quality feel that you can get from a 20-minute ride and go from there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit that subscribe button right down there in the corner. And to all you legends out there for supporting me, thank you very much. Remember, folks, go riding. It's good for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.